Hey everyone, in today's fly tying video, I'm going to be tying for you an extremely simple and effective parachute mayfly pattern. Now this is a grey parachute mayfly and it's so great because it only requires 3 materials to tie the fly. So the first one is some grey dubbing, then we have our natural done cock hackle, and then we just have our post material for the wing. Super simple. Now the hook I'm tying this fly on is a Hanak 130. That's my favorite dry fly hook. This particular pattern, the water types that you would fish it in, I like it in a size 14 or a size 12. So we'll tie my thread on here. Not super fussy with the color of the thread. I don't think it really makes a difference because you only really see it right at the eye when you turn it, when you tie it off. And the reality is like I said, the types of water I fish this style of fly in, it's not the be all and end all. They don't really get a great look at it. Now I'm tying the tail out of some fibers of the same hackle that I'll use for the parachute hackle. So we're just going to tie this in here. Happy to have, a reasonable number of fibers in there. Not super fussy about the length of it. You can tie the tail slightly longer. It just gives the whole fly a little bit more surface area and it doesn't hurt the flotation at all. All right, so we've tied the tail in there. Now for the post, I like to use the Soldarini post material. They make it in colors that I really like. It floats really well. This here is just a green Chartreuse. I see green really well, which is why I like to use it for some of my posts, and it's why I use it for my nymphing indicator as well. I just see it really well, but don't feel you have to use this color. You can use any color you like. So we're just going to tie this post in here just to get it out of the way. And we're going to trim that there. It's probably a little bit long. Oh, we'll see how it goes. I always try to trim this a little bit long because when you're on the water, you can always chop it down if you need to. Okay, now the hackle, I've just chosen, again, hackle from the same cape there. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to strip a little bit of the ends here. So when I tie it in here, as I tie it up, I'm just tying up the stem, so I'm not actually locking down any of those nice hackle fibers. So that means when I do wind it down, they don't skew out at all different angles. Again, doesn't make a super big difference, but I just like to do it. It's nice and neat. All right, so with that tied in, now it's super easy to just use the natural hare's ear dubbing that I'm using, and I can actually just dub it the whole way forwards. You can, if you like, you can tie this fly by dubbing the body first, then doing the post, then putting the hackle fiber in, then dubbing a thorax, or you can do it this way. The order doesn't really matter. It doesn't change the way the fly actually looks. So what we do want here is we just want to make sure we have, a nice thin body. We don't want it to be too fat because it is a mayfly pattern. And then if we like, we can just build up a bit of a thorax here where we get a bit closer to the post. If you wanted to, you could use a slightly darker shade of material for the thorax. You could do anything you like, really. You could tie a thorax out of peacock herl, but ultimately it doesn't make a huge difference. Perfect. So you can see nice continual kind of taper there, not too fat at the back. Now all we need to do is just wind our hackle forwards. All right, now when we wind this hackle down, it's very important to start at the top and wind down and try not to lock down any of the previous hackle fibers you've kind of wound down, because you'll find then they splay in all different directions. And the reason we have the hackle is just to create some, nice, well, to increase the surface area of the fly on the water. It has that bit of a footprint that really just helps this fly float. So I've just tied it to the front, then locked it down. What I do is I peel back all of those fibers there. So again, I don't lock them down. Then I just rotate this round. Trim that there at the front. And then all it is a matter of just, building up the head to your liking. And then I just go a few half hitches. And because I don't want to get any, I don't like to get any glues or resins on my hackle fibers, what I'll do is I'll just grab a needle and then I'm just going to put a tiny dab of super glue there at the front. And that's all done. Well, there you go. Very, very simple fly. 3 materials, so easy. I should point out, I do tie this hackle slightly big deliberately. I find that just the increased footprint on the water just helps the fly ride really nicely. It helps it set when you do make the cast. A parachute mayfly is a fly I fished so much growing up, and it was one of the first flies that I caught a lot of fish on. Now I find it's not my starting fly. I'll always start with a CDC caddis or a CDC mayfly because I just don't want any stiff material anywhere when they eat the fly. But it's still a fly that I carry in my box all the time because it's very easy to see. It creates a different profile on the water to the other CDC dries, so sometimes it does work better, and it just shows them something different as well. So hope you enjoyed watching. Don't forget, like the video if you did, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I'll pop a link in the description to this fly in my signature fly range in the Fly Life shop. You can purchase it there. You can also find out more information about the fly there. So check that stuff out. Hope you enjoyed watching, and I'll see you next video.